The second thing I bought when starting my filmmaking career after camera and lenses was a gimbal. And I felt like I couldn't be taken seriously if I didn't own one. Once I owned my first gimbal, I shot literally everything on it. For YouTube, clients, personal projects, it didn't matter. And the footage looked smooth and professional. But what if I told you that you not only not need a gimbal, but using one might even make your footage look worse? I might even go as far as saying that the most used form of stabilization in the industry right now is the good old shoulder rig. But why is that? Let's look at one of my favorite TV shows of all times, Entourage. It follows a group of friends throughout their journey of trying to make it in Hollywood. The show is about friendship, adventure, authenticity, and bro culture. This intimate feeling is achieved by almost exclusively using shoulder rigs as form of stabilization. With this real down-to-earth, over-the-shoulder method of filmmaking, the viewer feels like they are part of the gang, almost documentary style. Something not achievable by the overly sterile and smooth look of a gimbal. So now that we listed some reasons on why to use a shoulder rig, let's actually build one. Alright, so this is going to be the chill part of the video where we will just hang out and I will talk about shoulder rigs and I will build one out with you. Because there are certain things that I'm really looking forward to when building out a shoulder rig, because there are some things that are really important to me to be able to get the best out of my footage and also be able to shoot for longer times. So without any further ado, let's start building out our shoulder rig. The shoulder rig we're going to use today is the Hawklock SR007 from a brand called Rig, small rig. Get it? 007? No, okay, never mind. What I like about the small rig SR007 is its versatility, because you can really set it up so that it fits your needs. And on top of this, it's really high quality and it has all the features that you want in a shoulder rig. The first thing I noticed is that everything is super easy to adjust. And this is something that I really like, because with the press of a button, you can just adjust all the handles. For example, if we just want to adjust the side handles, we can just press one button, slide it open. And the same goes for the grips. We can do the same thing here. And we can also lengthen the grips also just by the press of a button, which is really nice and easy to do. So we can really make this our own. One thing that I also haven't seen in a lot of other shoulder rigs is that if we want to have it on our left shoulder, not on our right shoulder, we can also do so, because we can just slide the entire plate either to the left or to the right. And the shoulder pad on the bottom, which is actually pretty comfortable by the way, we can also switch sides on, because it's just taped via Velcro, so we can just take it off and reverse it. And so if you want to put it on our left shoulder, we can do so. But on top of this, you actually have a second shoulder pad that you can just put on the back side of the shoulder rig. And that is pretty cool, because this one is also spring adjusted so that it is a little bit flexible and not hard on your shoulder. And you can also adjust it in many ways so that it's really snug and tight on your shoulder, and therefore it's not moving around and you do get a lot of stability out of it. And that is especially important when it comes to actually mounting your camera on top of it, because we can also quickly adjust the length of our camera plate, and that comes in really handy because we need to have it balanced, because you don't want to have a shoulder rig that is very front heavy. I used some cheap shoulder rigs in the past and everything was so front heavy that I might as well just had to hold it with my hands, and it didn't really rest on my shoulders because all the way was just up front. And here we can just slide it back and therefore get a little bit more weight towards the back of our camera, especially when working with heavier lenses and big matte boxes, etc. Another thing that makes it really easy to balance all of this is the quick release mounting plate. On the one side, it goes on top of your shoulder rig, and on the other side, you obviously put your camera. You can just do it the traditional way with a 1/4 inch screw as well as a 3/8 inch screw, or you can use the Arca Swiss quick release plate. And this is what I'm usually doing, because I also have another small rig V-mount battery solution for my Canon R5C that is also mounted via a quick release Arca Swiss plate. So I can quickly switch from my handheld tripod setup to my shoulder rig setup. And this you can also use for most common gimbals and also use the quick release plate on top of your gimbal. So you're really flexible to just switch your camera to tripod, handheld, shoulder rig, as well as the gimbal. But the one thing I really like about this is that we have an optional rod mount system on the back of our tripod plate, and that enables us to actually mount a V-mount battery on the back of our camera. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I am a big fan of V-mount batteries, and I power everything with my V-mount batteries. My monitors, my camera, my lights, everything. So here what we can do is we can just take a 15mm rod and we can just screw it into the back of our tripod plate like so. And then we can mount a V-mount battery on the back of it. All we need to do here is take a V-mount plate with a rod mount and we slide it on the back of our rods. And then we can attach a V-mount battery. And the V-mount battery that I'm using is the brand new X99 from SmallRig. And this just came out, I believe, and it's pretty cool. I think it's one of the best V-mount batteries I've ever used because it has a really rugged design. So you can actually just put it through the works outdoors. But the one thing that I really love about this, and I think this is pretty unique to all the other V-mount batteries that I have used in the past is, and that is also very important for when using it with a shoulder rig, is that it has all the ports. For a 99-watt battery that you can actually take on a plane, it has 2 D-tap outs on the side, and on top it has 2 USB-C in and out ports, 1 USB-A port, as well as 2 DC in and out ports. And that is crazy for a small battery like this. And why use a V-mount battery on a shoulder rig? Number one, you want your shoulder rig to be balanced, and that again is pretty cool because now we can use this V-mount battery and we can put it just in our V-mount plate, and therefore we can just slide it back even further to balance out a front heavy setup. But the other thing we want to do with this is we want to power not only our camera, our monitor, all of our accessories, because we might want to use a video transmission to our client monitor or to our director's monitor, or maybe we have a focus puller on set that is pulling focus for us. So we need all the ports on our V-mount battery or on our V-mount battery plate to then plug in all of our accessories like a motor for pulling focus or a wireless transmission, the monitor, the camera itself, etc, etc. Another thing I really like about the SmallRig X99 V-mount battery is that it has a really big LCD screen on the back that is actually touchscreen. So it shows us all the ports that are being used and the power it actually draws right now. And the coolest feature is that it also has time remaining. So no matter how many things we plug in, the camera, the monitor, etc., here just shows you time left on the battery with everything plugged in and currently running, which is pretty convenient. Alright, now that we're almost done rigging out our shoulder rig, there is one more thing that I want to mention, and this is something that annoyed the hell out of me on other shoulder rigs that I've been using in the past, no matter how expensive. There's never a good solution for mounting a monitor on it. And here on the SmallRig SR007, not only do you have a 1/4-inch screw with our relocation pins on the front so that your monitor mount is actually sitting nice and tight, you also have cable tie options. And this is pretty neat to have a system to route your cables back to your camera for your monitor and how to power your monitor, so your HDMI or your SDI. So that is pretty cool. And here I'm just using a magic arm to attach my monitor to the shoulder rig, and a lot of the times you just don't have a good mounting point, but here you have a mounting point on either side of the front of the SR007, so it makes it really easy to get the monitor in the right place so that it is not in the way for shooting, but it is in a perfect position for me to actually watch my footage. So in summary, there is a time and place for both, the gimbal as well as the shoulder rig. If you want something smooth and sterile for commercial work, then the gimbal might be the right choice for you. But if you want to tell a story in the narrative world and you want to convey emotions, then the shoulder rig has you covered. And if you're looking for one, then check out the links down in the description below and check out the SmallRig Hawklock SR007. Well, and I will keep watching Entourage.